Persistence of vision, the phenomenon whereby the eye remembers what it has just seen after the object has disappeared. In film and video, this phenomenon is widely believed to account for our ability to perceive a sequence of frames as a continuous moving picture. In 1500, Leonardo da Vinci gave us a full description of the camera obscura, an optical device that projects an image of its surroundings on a screen. Leonardo da Vinci was well ahead of his time. Leonardo's writings and notes long remain in manuscripts. Shortly after his death, those passages from his papers dealing with painting were combined into the Trattato della Pittura. This is where we find Da Vinci's desire for painting to be a living thing. In 1515, Da Vinci presented a drawing of a type of image projector, the magic lantern, which was later developed in the 17th century. In 1832, Joseph Plateau introduced the phenakistoscope. Pictures on one disc, viewed through slots on the other, appeared to move when the two were spun and viewed in a mirror. The zoetrope was introduced by William George Horner. The zoetrope used the same principle as Plateau's phenakistoscope, but instead of discs, the pictures and slots are combined in a rotating drum. In 1877, Emile Renaud introduces the latest findings on optical reproduction of movement, the praxinoscope. Similar to the zoetrope, the illusion of movement produced by the praxinoscope was viewed on mirrors in the center of the drum rather than through the slot on the outside. In 1872, Leland Stanford, the governor of California, insisted that a horse in full stride takes all 4 feet off the ground. Stanford hired Edward Muybridge, a San Francisco photographer, to prove his point and settled a $25,000 bet. After many unsuccessful experiments, Muybridge mounted a line of cameras alongside the racetrack and tripped the shutters with electromagnets as a horse and rider galloped down the racetrack and over a short hurdle. The pictures proved that a horse does indeed take all 4 hooves off the ground while galloping. Muybridge developed a projector to present his findings. He adapted Horner's zoetrope to produce his zoopraxinoscope. In East Orange, New Jersey, Thomas Edison was pridefully working on perfecting his favorite of all his inventions, the phonograph. Edison assigned William Dickson to the project of developing a machine that could visually accompany his phonograph. For over 2 years, not much resulted. They finally designed a machine, the mutoscope, that they thought might work, but what were the pictures to be on? In 1888, George Eastman devised a flexible film base covered with photographic emulsion. This was exactly what Edison and Dickson were looking for. The result? The kinetoscope. The kinetoscope is a continuous loop of film that passed over a series of rollers and in front of a lens. But it had a flaw. It allowed only one person at a time to watch the moving images being put on display. Thomas Armand found that what the camera did to hold the film stationary while the images were being photographed could be repeated in the projection mechanism itself. In 1885 in Atlanta, Georgia, Armand made a vital connection. He demonstrated a projector that worked. The Lumiere family is the biggest manufacturer of photographic plates in Europe. A local kinetoscope exhibitor asked brothers Louis and Auguste Lumiere to make films which are cheaper than the ones sold by Edison. Louis and Auguste designed the cinematograph, a camera which serves as both a recording device and a projecting device. The cinematograph uses flexible film cut into 35mm wide strips and used an intermittent mechanism modeled on the sewing machine. The camera shot film at 16 frames per second, rather than the 46 which Edison used. This became the standard film rate for nearly 25 years. The Arrival of a Train is considered by most to be the first motion picture presented to a large public audience. This cinematic experiment demonstrated the Lumiere's new invention, the cinematograph, which captured a train arriving at a passenger station. The audience were startled and started to panic as the train moved towards them. So who invented film? While film itself was invented by George Eastman, the motion picture was an invention of many inventors. It was all just a matter of putting the pieces together.